Welcome back. Meredith, how are you doing today? Oh, good. And we also have Margie with us, too. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, it's always great to talk to our friends at OSF Healthcare. And honestly, no better time to talk about, National Cholesterol Education Month because we're in it. But also, it's always a good time to kind of just check up and make sure we're doing the right things. And I know on the back half of this, we'll talk about AFIB a little bit and discuss that. But right off the bat, let's just talk about cholesterol. What is it?
So cholesterol is like the waxy fat substance in your blood that helps with like creating proteins and amino acids essentially. But there's also the downside of cholesterol. There's good and bad cholesterol. So that's what cholesterol is.
Well, and how important is it too? At really what age do we start to check for that and start to really manage or at least keep an eye on it? What age should we do that?
I think guidelines really, you're supposed to have a first one in your 20s. And then kind of based on that is how we continue to monitor. It could be up to, every 5 years, 10 years. But then once you start to get into your more, I don't know, 40s.
You can say it older.
We start to watch it a little bit closer.
She's younger than me. You can say it older.
Not old, but older.
I think it depends a lot on your risk factors too.
Yeah.
Because obviously if you have a parent who had their first heart attack at 40,
right, you're
going to want to be more in tune to your health and your risk factors and what your cholesterol levels are and things like that.
This is kind of a silly question, but is there ever a time when maybe or we could prepare our bodies wrong, like eating the wrong foods maybe before we go get our cholesterol levels checked and they lead to maybe an improper eating? Is that a thing? I don't know why I thought about that. I just kind of one of those interesting thoughts.
So it is a thing.
Wow.
The funny that you say that. I had a patient one time that was also wanted to trial this and kind of do his own research.
Yeah.
And he would go a couple times and exercise vigorously before he had his lab work drawn that morning, or he did a couple times like he would go and have McDonald's before, or fast food before he had his numbers done because he wanted to kind of mess with us and see like what his numbers did or whatever and how he responded. I think the triglyceride level, which is more like the fatty substance or whatever, that's more influenced by diet, sugars, fats that you eat. I think that level tends to be kind of skewed more than some of the others.
Yeah.
But it most definitely don't go eat McDonald's a couple days before your planned blood work.
That's interesting though, and it's good to note too, honestly. And now when it comes to managing our blood cholesterol, why is it really so important for our heart and our overall body?
So cholesterol is that waxy, sticky substance that actually builds up in your arteries in addition to calcium and some other things. So trying to keep the numbers low is ultimately what we're trying to do to reduce that sticking to the inside of your arteries. But it doesn't, it's not really specific to your heart. It's if you have buildup in your heart, you probably have buildup in your carotid arteries, your renal arteries, your legs. So it really contributes to all the arteries in your body.
Is there a chronic condition that causes high cholesterol? Are there a few diseases that cause that, or is it just dependent on the person and their diet and lifestyle choices?
I would say it does have something to do with like your diet and your exercise, but also a lot of times it's genetics and
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're born with it.
Being overweight, somebody that's a diabetic will a lot of times struggle with their triglyceride levels and their total cholesterol being high too. So
is this the leading cause to a heart episode, or is there, or is this just one of many causes that could lead to a heart episode?
One of many. Yeah.
Now, there's no signs or symptoms when your cholesterol's out of check. Is that true?
This is true.
Pretty much.
Really? So, like, you don't feel tired all the time? Like, is that really not a, symptom or anything like that? You can go for a couple of years and just go get checked and realize you have high cholesterol levels?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. That's actually really fascinating. Well, and now, what's LDL?
That's your low density lipoprotein, which is your bad cholesterol. Okay. So that's the real sticky cholesterol that we try to really, I think, keep our eyes on in like cardiology.
Really, what's the good cholesterol?
HDLs, high density, which I feel like most of our patients have low HDLs, high LDLs, and there's not much to do for a low HDL other than, exercise is your big thing. But LDL is really what we watch closely, especially with our patients with like significant
You want your
heart
LDL
disease.
low, and you want your HDL high.
Yep.
Interesting. And so, do you ever have a time where it's flipped?
Yeah. Or wait.
Has that ever happened?
You can.
It's just a fascinating
mean
question.
just where
like
you
the level.
do have a high?
Yeah.
Well,
Has that ever happened?
It's not as common.
yeah.
Interesting. Sorry,
It
was just
does
one of the-
happen. It's not as common because, like Margy said, a lot of we don't have a lot of drugs or any drugs that really target to raise your bad
Right.
or your target to raise your good cholesterol or whatever. And so really the only thing is exercise. And unfortunately, most people don't exercise. So
And that's fascinating too, because especially knowing that if it's something genetic, and this is something that your parents or grandparents or your relatives had to deal with. You would think if we can get a jump on this early and maybe already start to have a more of an active lifestyle, or I'm sure more of a healthier eating ritual too, this could maybe be a lot easier to manage down the road than if we don't do any of those things.
Yeah.
What do you recommend for somebody who's kind of going through this? Maybe this is how we all are as people, especially me. I don't go to the doctor, and probably shouldn't say that on this segment. But whenever someone figures this out, like maybe they haven't gone for a few years, and their kiddos are getting on them and going, Mom, Dad, this is ridiculous. You got to go get checked up. And maybe they haven't even started this process of living healthy. They've been kind of stuck in their habits. What's the best way to really start to combat, this issue? Is it by just going for a walk? Is it by getting the eating schedule down right first? Is it eating over exercise, or should it be kind of a little bit of both right away?
I think it's a little bit of both. Eating and exercise. Like the exercise part will definitely help with your HDLs. And then of course your LDLs is going to be helped by your dietary modifications. But I do think we find a lot that it is genetic in nature, that a lot of times people can't control their cholesterol even with dietary and exercise.
And so when you manage it, it's just with medicine, I'm guessing?
yeah, we were talking on the way down here. Like, I feel like I have this conversation a lot with patients. It's not that they're not doing a good job, whether they're trying to exercise or they're trying to eat right or whatever. I think a lot of it is just genetics, and the cholesterol medicine, I feel like over the years has gotten a bad rap as far as side effects and that kind of thing. But even if your cholesterol is borderline high, like if you have a risk factor, if you have a strong family history of heart disease, especially in a parent or a grandparent that it started in their 40s or early 50s, it's better off to take a low dose of a medication and bring your cholesterol down rather than try to do it with diet and exercise, because oftentimes in those individuals it is genetics, and you're not going to get your numbers down low enough as far as what is recommended now.
Right.
So,
well, and just kind of following up on the medicine, because you said it gets a bad rep, but I'm sure there's a lot of prescriptions that are like that because of just side effects or you name it. How important is it though, especially for this, to really make sure we're sticking to the cholesterol medication, every day or when we need it? Because I'm sure if you miss a day or two, or maybe you do what I do and you forget you take one at 7 a.m. when you wake up and take one again at 9, that might could that lead to some issues?
I do think it's important to be consistent for sure with every medication that you're taking. So consistency would be key with trying to get your cholesterol down. Missing a dose every now and then is not going to hurt you.
That's good to know.
Make a
I feel like
huge
that's
difference.
common.
Yeah.
There could be somebody that missed one of their doses today. We could have really scared them.
right.
Like, you better get back to taking it.
We could have.
But I like coming on and talking about this because it's one of those things where we hear cholesterol all the time. Especially when I was in school, in health class, and the food pyramid and everything else. But we forget it, I think, and lose sight over just kind of managing that and realizing that's something that we might have to take a look at. And if we have parents that are having, those heart issues, or we have family members or just that family history, how important is it to kind of bring that up with our doctors too and say, here's what I know about just my family's overall heart health, because I'm sure that could maybe solve a few steps that could take quite some time to figure out. If you don't know that information. Is it important to kind of relay that, or does that kind of skew the individual's the care?
I think that family history is huge. That's like one of the big questions I ask with all my patients, inpatient, outpatient. It's kind of what's going on, and then what's your family history? Because a lot of times, early heart disease and anybody, males, females, you see it. It becomes a trend, So
question. That's actually brings up a good question. Do you see high cholesterol and mostly more men or more female typically?
Depends on the situation.
Okay.
A lot of women are protected until they hit that menopause stage too, because of the estrogen in their hormones. So, but if they're morbidly obese or they're diabetic, then their cholesterol may be high despite not even reaching menopause. So,
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You guys got a moment to take a quick break with me? I got to pay a bill. 9:30, a little bit of change. We'll come back, and we're going to talk all about atrial fibrillation. I always get that word a little jumbled. It's Awareness Month for that with this as well, and I really like talking about all these important topics because OSF Healthcare is right here in the backyard, and they keep growing each and every day to make sure that all of us are helping ourselves. We'll come back with more Daily Show next.
Throughout all life stages, you need someone in your corner, guiding you on your health and wellness journey. At OSF Healthcare, that's your primary care provider. Your OSF primary care provider is there for every stage of life. Find a provider today at osfhealthcare.org/primary.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
I don't drink whiskey. I don't know how it feels to hurt. Oh, I ain't been lonely since you said goodbye.
Welcome back. Daily Show on a Monday. I keep forgetting what day of the week. It's going to be a long week. No, I got to quit doing that. Positivity. It's going to be a very fast-moving week. We're back with Meredith, and we're back with Margy. And, Meredith had a great idea, and she said, CJ, we should put Margy on the spot here. 1 year in the books at OSF Healthcare. How's it been?
It's great.
So you went to SLU, and this is your first... is this your first hospital?
I did a little stint with ortho, but I would say my background is cardiology, so I went back to the cardiology route.
Really cool. Well, take me through your day-to-day at OSF Healthcare.
So we do inpatient and outpatient. Usually in the morning, we kind of team up on rounds and inpatient, see new consults, see follow-ups, and then we go to the outpatient for the rest of the day and just see quite a few patients, 12 patients for the rest of the day, and manage their general cardiology care.
What's your relationship been with the patients the last year?
It's good. I feel like my confidence has definitely gotten better.
Good.
I know it takes a while, but we're not there yet completely. But I've learned a lot. I've had great mentors. So yeah.
And just for the maybe the prospective students out there that are looking at OSF Healthcare, what have you noticed just in that year from just the staff like Meredith and other mentors and just different folks in different departments? Is it a good place to work? Do you recommend it?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that was a tough part. I was nervous when I asked that. No, I never was. And honestly, you guys have been on a heck of a ride. I mean,
Yeah,
to get the
the
Magnet
Magnet.
Designation Award and all of this really just great stuff. And, Meredith, it goes back. It's really cool to see that, so many great and talented young people are coming to OSF Healthcare to help you guys continuously improve your mission, too.
Yep.
And take me through, how do you guys, just for the audience's sake in mind, take me through your guys' collaboration on the day-to-day. What's that look like? Do you guys collaborate quite frequently, or do you guys work in different areas of that department?
As far as myself and Margy.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, we're together most of the day.
Oh, wow.
We round together in the hospitals.
That's cool.
And take care of the people that are in the hospital. And then we, she's seeing her patients in the clinic and I'm seeing mine or whatever. And then we have 1 or 2 physicians from SLU that come over every day of the week or whatever. So we're collaborating with them and working with them and helping each other or whatever. So
We share an office.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
wow.
busy. Yeah, she's stuck with me.
But it's nice for because I'm still learning and she's been doing this for a while, so I can have
That's cool.
I can just bounce
Yeah.
questions off of her and
Yeah.
she's right there. So
I love this. Well, and just getting back into the conversation, this month is also National Atrial Fibrillation Month. I feel like I got that.
You did. You nailed it.
I was nervous because I botched it going to the break. We're going to call it AFib just because that's how we all know it anyway at this point. And it's one of those things that we all hear about, I feel like, but we might not understand what it necessarily is. What is AFib, if you could, for all of us?
So it's a irregular heartbeat that comes from the top chambers of the heart.
Okay.
That's not necessarily, so if you have a rhythm problem from the bottom part of your heart, the ventricle, that's a bad rhythm and you don't want to have this. Atrial fibrillation is not necessarily a lethal or deadly rhythm. It's the most common rhythm in the world. And it's just, it's your top chamber's not beating or is beating too fast and not in sync. So it's irregular.
Can you ever get that managed to where it goes back into at least a normal status?
Yeah, so that is the goal of treatment once you identify that somebody has it, is to try to maintain the normal rhythm and keep them out of AFib.
So does AFib, is it one of those things that happens in cycles, I'm guessing, or it's not constant, is it?
There is no, it's a nuisance. There is
Wow.
no rhyme. There's no reason. It can happen at any time. You can have certain triggers for it.
Yeah.
Or it can just happen when you're watching a movie or watching TV or, yeah.
What are the signs that you're going into an AFib episode?
The most common, I would say, is that you start feeling your heart racing. You get these palpitations. You kind of get this irregular heart rhythm or beat in your chest. A lot of people get short of breath. They get dizzy when they're standing up and trying to do stuff. I would say those are the most common of the symptoms. Sometimes people have chest discomfort.
Fatigue, tiredness, maybe,
Well, and now, how serious can it get when you're going into, when you're feeling something like that come on? Is it one of those things where we need to go and get checked up right away and go to be seen? What's that kind of process look like once we see that and feel that?
I think a lot of times it does depend on how fast your heart rate rhythm is going.
Okay.
Because you can become, your blood pressure can drop and you can get really symptomatic whenever your AFib rate is out of control. But there's other things that we have to follow up on whenever you have AFib because you're at increased risk of stroke. And so it is important to get it checked on sooner rather than later, whether, that's getting to, you see your doctor soon or the emergency room.
Do you ever have people that think they're just having a panic attack or something whenever they're experiencing? Because that to me is what it kind of, it almost seemed like a little bit. To me, that's where I could see this being really scary for a lot of people, not realizing that they have a medical issue going on. Oh, no, I was just having a bad day or, anxiety flare up or you name it.
Yep.
And then you go months or years, I'm sure, without really identifying this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
So is it one of those things where it's better to be safe than sorry on, I'm guessing, because, we hate to waste your time in the doctor's office, but it would probably be a lot better for all of us if we went and got this checked out just to know and identify if it's really what it is. Mm-hmm. How young does AFib start to get diagnosed?
I mean, some people are as young as their 20s.
Really?
I mean, I wouldn't say that's the common.
Not the common, but I think we see it more because of energy drinks, alcohol.
Yeah.
Easy.
But I mean, what else?
Then, there's lots of other, alcohol.
Stimulants, drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, cocaine, methamphetamines, that kind of thing.
Well, and honestly, is it so? Do you ever have just because I'm not familiar with this, once you start to manage your AFib, let's say you get diagnosed with it, how long does it normally take? Is it just dependent on that person, just kind of what their circumstances are to get them back into a regulated status, or could it be 3 years have been going great and then all of a sudden we have another AFib episode and we're kind of back to square one? Is it kind of both the same with that?
Yeah.
You said it.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can go in and out of it and have no idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is there any more research leading into this to start to identify some of those, why those episodes happen? Or is it just one of those things where we're kind of at the height of advancement we can be with AFib?
I feel like even if you control what your trigger is, so if it was alcohol and you quit drinking, or if it was sleep apnea and you get fitted for a CPAP and treated for a CPAP machine, I feel like you could be going along and you're stable on your medicines, doing what you're supposed to do, and then you have another event or whatever. And so it's kind of like you can be as compliant as you can and doing all the right things, and you can still have it. And that's what's frustrating, and it's a nuisance. I mean, because you could be fine and feel fine, and then all of a sudden you have an episode. So, or they can be silent, and you may not know. And unfortunately, sometimes people come in with stroke symptoms, and it's because they had AFib and didn't know they were in AFib or had been having AFib, and that's the other scary thing about it too.
Well, this might seem like a silly question. When someone's diagnosed, because you were saying that some people as young as their 20s, it could be, whatever age, it's not saying that's common, but do you need to start to worry about and watch for some of those things that could maybe cause heart-related events? Just the other day, this sounds silly, but seeing like a roller coaster sign that says, you shouldn't be on this if you have, a heart condition. Do you have to watch for those things when you have a diagnosis of AFib?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
I mean, you're your own best advocate, right? I mean, you have to advocate for yourself and pay attention to symptoms and how you're feeling and what's not normal.
Yeah, what your triggers are.
Yeah.
What are some other common triggers?
Oh, I feel like those are
heart disease, heart failure.
Lots of people have heart surgery, any type of stressor like that.
Yeah, it's common after bypass surgery if somebody has to have open heart surgery or bypass.
Sometimes anesthesia, just in general.
Just because just real quick, does external stress cause triggers in AFib? If we screaming or just kind of high tense situations or even high stress job situations, can those be triggers too? Yes and no.
I don't know.
No. Okay.
I don't know if it's documented.
No,
but,
interesting.
I mean, I feel like all of our life stressors affect our health in one way or the other.
Right.
So
how do we know if it's AFib? Is that only diagnosed at your guys' office or at a medical facility?
It's interesting that you say that, because now with the Apple Watch,
it
has that technology. Yeah. More often, it is correct.
Is it really?
Yeah, and then there's also the thing called cardio mobile.
That's what I saw on TV.
Yeah, you can put it on your phone and it tells you. And so we have patients that will have that or their watch, and then they screenshot the rhythm recording that it did, and they may send it through My Chart, or they may call and say, I've got these recordings or whatever. And then we officially, they'll come in and we'll, order a monitor and make sure that the technology was correct. But more often than not, it's
pretty close.
It's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's right.
That's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah. So technology and watches it's come a long way.
Well, and honestly, that's kind of good for maybe someone that has somebody out there that has an older adult, or maybe their spouse, or you name it, that has that. It might be good to kind of get, you never know, just to monitor and see where we're at. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why I guess I shouldn't really ask it this way because we know that AFib is a problem and it's not necessarily why, but let's talk about what it could lead to, because I know that, I mean, these we're talking, stroke and heart failure and some of these things that could be end of life or, disabling to say the least. What are some of the risks and symptoms on top of like the heart attacks, the strokes that AFib kind of brings to the table?
I would say those are the big two, stroke and heart failure. Would you say there's anything?
I don't think,
Those are the big ones that we get worried about.
Does that, and this is again a CJ kind of, because I'm not a medical expert, does like a high cholesterol play into an AFib at all?
Typically, no.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and the way that I typically explain that to patients is more often it's kind of like your house, your electricity, and your plumbing, or can be heart-wise it can be related, but most often may not be related or whatever. So your plumbing is your heart arteries and plaque buildup and that kind of stuff, and your rhythm problems or your AFib's more like your electrical circuit is gone haywire.
Okay, that's really fascinating. Mm-hmm. Well, and it's good for folks to know that if they're experiencing any of those, like the heart palpitations, like you said, or that raciness, to go and get checked, and to know that some people as young into their 20s, even, and it makes sense because of all the crazy amounts of caffeine and everything else that we're putting into our bodies. So for folks out there that are maybe younger and they have a history of like maybe their parents had it, their dad had AFib, is this a genetic or is this more of a lifestyle issue?
I think there's some studies out there that say that it could be genetic or whatever, and you definitely see that trend as, my dad had it or my mom had it or my grandpa had it, or so whether or not it's truly a genetic thing, I don't really think that we know yet.
And now, what's the number to call whenever, so we can get scheduled and make sure we're taking care of ourselves?
You're asking us, sir.
618-474. I'd have to look. I look it up every time.
We'll link it. That doesn't matter. OSF Healthcare. But really, guys, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate your insights. And whether or not you're looking at your cholesterol levels or you're dealing with something that kind of reminds you of AFib, or maybe something in this interview kind of resonated with you, go get checked out. Go see a primary care provider. And if you don't have one, go get one through the OSF Healthcare Network, osfhealthcare.org. Anything else today?
I don't think so.
We're good?
Thank you.
9:47. A little bit of change. More Daily Show as I wrap up the 9 o'clock hour next.